This is the Louie Tee Network.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Overtime! So we head to overtime.
Who else could it be but me? Your me. Louie Tee, welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. And really, this was the perfect way to end off a hell of a weekend of football. We still got one more game to go. Monday Night Football, Giants, Bengals. That should be a good football game. But, man, I tell you, between yesterday's or Saturday's college football action and all the upsets and all of the action on Sunday in the National Football League, all the close games and the near losses and late wins and all of the things that we've seen from all of these games in Week 10, I'd say that was one hell of a weekend of football. And we still got one more game to go, so I'm excited to see what Monday Night Football brings. And remember, we were complaining about primetime games. I'd say that over the last month and a half or so, we've had some really good contests. And the Seahawks were in two of the best games we've seen, maybe three if you throw in that Arizona Cardinals game from a couple weeks back, that we've seen on primetime all season long. And this was another doozy, and we knew this was going to be a good game. Patriots at home hosting the Seattle Seahawks, a rematch of the Super Bowl 2 years ago. We remember what happened at the 1 yard line in that ball game. So a little bit of history between the two teams. We knew this was going to be a good one, and it turned out to be exactly that. We were not disappointed. We'll break this game down here in a second. But before I get to any of the proceedings this evening, first and foremost, let me welcome everyone to the Louie Tee Network. If you haven't seen this channel before, welcome. And if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. We're changing the game over here. I want you to be a part of that. Go ahead and give me that subscription and help us do exactly that. Change the game here on YouTube with the Louie Tee Network. Also, I'm on Twitter. In the Lab Room is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and give me a follow. That's the best way for you to keep tabs on what's going on with this channel as far as notifications are concerned with these uploads and these live feeds. Turn the notification on, follow me on Twitter, and you will be up to breast, up to speed as to what is going on with this channel as it happens in real time. Also, if you happen to be watching this and you're on Twitter at the same time, go ahead, leave a message using the hashtag LouieTLive to have your voice heard at the end of this breakdown when we wrap things up. Also, I'm on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Again, go ahead and give me the thumbs up there. I'm going to be doing some different things with that page down the road. You should go ahead, get ahead of the curve, and find yourself on that page as well. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow all of my social media platforms. They're all up in the right-hand corner of the screen, up above, scrolling on the screen. So go ahead and do that. So let's talk about this football game and the way we break these games down here on the Louie Tee Network is in a simple format known as likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. And that's exactly what we're going to do, break this game down in that format. What a football game this turned out to be. And like I said, it's been one heck of a weekend of football with a lot of close contests. Can't wait to watch each and every single one of these games and see exactly what happened and how these outcomes were achieved. That being said, this was a great cap to the Sunday action. Let's jump into it. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. So let's jump into this breakdown of this football game and go with our likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe format. You know how we do. We always start off with the likes in the first half from the road team, that being the Seattle Seahawks in this ball game. So we'll jump into their likes from the first half. 3 straight scoring possessions to start the game. That accounted for 13 points. You would have loved to have seen them get in the end zone more, and we'll talk about their red zone woes in this football game. But to start the game off, and we knew that this wasn't the greatest Patriots defense, and after you trade away Jamie Collins, you're going to have some growing pains with a lot of young players. You want to have a Landon Roberts in there to take his spot. Okay, fine. Go right ahead, but you're going to have some growing pains. This defense wasn't great to begin with. Then you trade away Jamie Collins. There's going to be a residual effect there. And so you saw that, I thought, early in the game, and you saw it late as well. When they needed a stop, they could not make the plays to get the stop necessary to win this football game. And so to start this game off, I thought the Seahawks moved it down the field and moved it down the field effectively. And if not for, and this is where the Patriots usually make their hay, they'll let you move it 20-20, but when you get inside the red zone, that's where they bow their back. That's when they stand up strong and they force you to kick field goals. That's why they're always among the best in terms of allowing the least amount of points in the league. Matt Patricia and his group, they do a really good job of keeping you out of the end zone, and that's what they did early in this game. But the Seahawks were moving the football, which is always a good sign. Look, you can sit there and tell yourself, hey, as a defense, hey, they're not getting in the end zone, but at some point that dam's going to break and that other team's going to get in the end zone. And if you're a team moving the football but you're not finding the end zone, you can just tell yourself and take solace in knowing, look, we can move the ball on these guys, and if we get down there again, we're going to get it in the next time. And the Seahawks were doing that. First 2 possessions resulted in field goals, but finally that dam broke and they got in that third time to Doug Baldwin. And all of a sudden, 13 points on the first 3 possessions. I thought they started out this game very well offensively. Deshaun Shedd with an interception of Brady, his first interception of the season. Tom Brady started off this season red hot, no interceptions, coming back from that 4-game suspension. This was his first one of the season. A situation where he's pressured, looks to step up, runs around, resets his feet, tries to launch it deep, doesn't get enough on it. And Deshaun Shedd, looking for the football, locates it, picks it off. Almost amounts to a punt, but it wasn't third down, so it's a big turnover there at that point of the game. Touchdown at the end of the first half. Wilson to Baldwin. Huge touchdown there. Again, anytime you have an opportunity to get in the end zone, get points, period. You know how I feel about scoring before the half. Thought it was a huge opportunity there taken advantage of by the Seahawks to take the lead going into the halftime break at 19-14. Big touchdown there. And that was Baldwin's second touchdown of this football game. He was huge in this game, was Doug Baldwin, making some big-time plays for this Seattle Seahawks offense. You go to the first half lights for the Patriots. The Pats' opening touchdown drive, it was marvelous. It was easy. It almost seemed like Seattle's going to be in for a long night. I mean, they moved it right down the field. The first play of the game was a screen to James White, and they just took it right down the field. Methodically, looked easy, ran the football a little bit too with Blunt and get into the end zone. And just like that, it's 7-0, you're thinking, uh-oh, here we go. Patriots doing what the Patriots do, and that's moving the football down the field and getting into the end zone and capping off drives with touchdowns. But that would not be the case all night long. Red zone defense, I thought they were impressive, and this is not something that just was limited to the first half. I actually thought their red zone defense was phenomenal in the second half as well. This game could have gotten out of hand early with all of the points being scored and all the opportunities the Seahawks had, but because the Patriots were able to stand up strong in the red zone and not allow touchdowns and force field goals to be kicked, they kept themselves in this football game. That red zone defense was huge for them, not only in the first half, but also in the second half, in giving them a chance in this game as well. And then a blocked extra point. It's funny. I had a discussion today with a couple of family members about the extra point and how I'm not crazy about the extra point being moved back to the 15-yard line. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. It makes the game a little bit more exciting, I guess. But I was fine with the extra point at the 2-yard line and having it be an automatic play. It's still 95% of a sure thing. But again, that 5%, it happens to be a huge deal. Guys missing kicks, or as you saw in this particular game and in the New Orleans game earlier, blocked extra points that can turn into points. This didn't have any points attached to it, but still you take a point off the scoreboard and made Seattle have to chase points later on in the game, or at least they did chase points. For what reason, I don't know. We'll talk about that decision a little bit later on. But in any event, that blocked extra point loomed large at one point in this game. And again, anytime you can take points off the scoreboard, it's a huge deal in this league. You go to the first half dislikes for both teams. Go back to the Seattle Seahawks in the first half of this game, settling for field goals. 2 possessions early on, the very first 2 possessions of the game. They move it right down the field on this Patriots defense, but have to settle for field goals. That's a recipe for disaster especially when you're playing good teams like the Patriots that can get in the end zone and make their drives count for 7. You kick field goals, usually you're asking for trouble in this league. They were able to get away with it in this game, but got to find a way to get in the end zone. Their first 2 possessions resulted in field goals after driving deep into Patriots territory. And then the block extra point, you go up 13-7 if you can tack on the extra point. Instead, it's blocked, and now it's 12-7, which is an odd score. And it just puts you in a position where now you're thinking to yourself, I'm probably going to have to go for 2 at some point in this game if things don't go the way that we need them to. So those are the types of situations you just don't want to find yourself in a ball game. And that's why making extra points and making sure you get every single point that you're supposed to is key in this league. And that was a blocked extra point on the part of the Seattle Seahawks. You go to the Patriots in their first half dislikes. The defense. I thought the defense was very porous in the first half of this game. 5 Seahawk possessions, 4 of them resulted in scoring drives for the Seahawks. 80% of their drives in the first half went for points, 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns. That's just not good defense. And like I said, this is a defense that we have already identified as a troublesome area for this Patriots football team. This defense is not all that good, and I've been asking the questions of this defense. Where's the pressure going to come from? How are you going to be consistent? I've been asking those questions since the preseason, and now you're starting to see these issues coming to fruition. Then you decide to trade away a centerpiece of your defense in Jamie Collins, and I just don't know where you're going to get all this production from defensively. Like the secondary, don't love much else on this defense other than Hightower. So you got some other guys that are playing some solid football, but again, collectively as a group, I think this defense isn't all that great. You saw that again tonight. 4 out of the first 5 possessions of the game in the first half go for scores for the Seahawks. Tom Brady throws his first interception of the game, of the season, I should say. Not going to beat him up. It happens. I'd like to see Brady not take that risk there in that situation. It's not third down. It's not like you're going to punt anyway if I don't complete the pass. I think it was more like first or second down. Either way, we've seen Brady make plays like that before. He took a shot, didn't get enough on it. It's picked off. It happens. Giving up the end of the half touchdown, that I had a bigger problem with than the Brady interception. You can't give up points before the half. And if you're going to give up points, you can't give up a touchdown in that situation. You can't let Russell Wilson scramble around and have the scramble drill and allow a guy to uncover and score a touchdown right before the half. You must make the Seahawks attempt a field goal in that situation. You've already blocked an extra point in this game. Who knows what's going to happen if you force them to kick a field goal? They could miss. It could be blocked. You could pick it up and run it for a touchdown. Anything could happen. The possibilities are endless, but what you don't want to do is allow them to score a touchdown right before the half, and that's what the Patriots did in this game. And that was a huge touchdown. As you see, they lost this game by a touchdown. That was a huge turn of events right before the half. And again, I'm a huge momentum guy going into halftime. That was a huge momentum swing for the Seahawks to end the first half. You go to the likes in the second half of this game. We go back to the Seattle Seahawks. CJ Prosise is on my likes list. He had himself a whale of a ball game. And after watching L.Bell and Zeke Elliott do what they did in all the all-purpose yards that those two backs compiled in that thrilling game in the evening, Cowboys and Steelers, to watch another back have a stellar all-purpose performance was just music to my ears and really fun to watch with these two eyes here. CJ Prosise, a guy that I have affinity for, obviously, as a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. It's good to see him finally getting an opportunity to start and carry the load. He ran the football effectively. I thought he caught the football exceptionally well out of the backfield, which is what he does very well, which was one of his strengths coming out of Notre Dame because he was an ex-wide receiver. He's a guy that is not any less effective out of the backfield or even being split out in the route. So he was very, very good in this game. I thought he ran the ball effectively and he caught it out of the backfield. Had a big catch down the field. to set up a scoring opportunity for the Seahawks late in this ball game. C.J. Prosise, huge in this game in the second half, specifically for this Seattle Seahawks football team. Cam Chancellor with the forced fumble, big play, taking the football essentially away from Julian Edelman. That's a hell of a play. And Cam Chancellor has been out for the last 3 or 4 weeks with a groin, and to see him back on the field, he makes a difference. We already knew that, but to actually see him making a play like this at a crucial time in the game, that turned out to be the game-winning touchdown that they would get after that forced fumble. That drive that resulted in another touchdown for Doug Baldwin turned out to be the game winner. And so that's a huge play by Cam Chancellor to force that football out. Wow. It was just really a hell of an effort by one man, because he's holding him up, and as he's holding it up, it looks like he's going down. He pokes the football free and is scooped up by Richard Sherman and taken to the New England 48-yard line. And again, they would end up scoring the game-winning go-ahead score on that possession. So huge play in the game. You go to the Patriots in their second half likes. Opening drive of the second half, just like the first half opening drive, they move it right down the field. Blunt ran it well on that possession, including getting into the end zone. Didn't think he would get around the edge on that run, but they sealed the outside, and he got around the edge, tiptoed his way into the end zone. And just like that, the Patriots are now back on top 21-19 in the game. So it was a really good start to the second half for the Patriots. It would not last, obviously, but again, you're seeing them come out with a little bit of a game plan early in a half. Well-scripted plays. They come out, they get it done. Cyrus Jones with a nice kickoff return. We know what he's about and his prowess with returns. He did it at Alabama. He's done it well for the Patriots since hitting the league, but he did fumble on that play. Great hustle by Nate Ebner to recover that football. If he's not there, it's probably going to be a turnover and a recovery for the Seattle Seahawks. Great hustle by Nate Ebner. Great return by Cyrus Jones. Have to hold on to the football. However, you go to the dislikes in the second half of this game, and it's the red zone efficiency for the Seattle Seahawks. You start there. They got in the red zone at least 3 times or 5 times in this game. I think they came away with only 2 touchdowns in this game from the red zone, so that's a problem. And again, they got away with it tonight. Stephen Hauschka made sure that those trips didn't end in empty drives, because he was able to pound home field goals. But normally field goals in these types of games get you beat, and they got to find a way to get in the end zone a little bit better. But when they mattered the most, they got in the end zone, and that's all that matters. The kickoff return given up to Cyrus Jones was a problem, because if not for a fumble a few plays later by Julian Edelman, that possession is probably going to end in some points for the Patriots. Can't give that up. Not in that crucial juncture of the game, especially. Can't have that happen. Almost forced a turnover there, but it didn't happen. And the Patriots were in Seahawks territory before Edelman coughed up the football. Going for 2 up 7. What's the deal with that? And I know exactly what the thought process was, but that's bad thought process. That's wrong thought process. You're up 7. You kick the extra point at 31-24. You kick that extra point, make it 32, and you force the Patriots, who now need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie the game up. You force them to have to convert that 2-point conversion. It is so hard. We watched the Steelers and the Cowboys go 0 of 6 on 2-point conversions in that afternoon thriller. You do not allow a team to just kick an extra point to tie the game up when you got an opportunity to force them to have to go for 2. 2-point conversions aren't gimmies in this league. They are tough to go and get. Don't give them a break or pass by going for 2. And I know what he was going for. He was going for the jugular. He gets that 2-point conversion. You go up 9. You're up 2 scores. Most likely the game is over. Don't put yourself in that position, though, where you take the opportunity out of your team's hand to be able to defend them, even if they get in the end zone, to defend them once more to try to secure a victory. I didn't like that decision by Pete Carroll. I thought he was over-aggressive in that situation. And as we saw earlier with the Steelers, over-aggression can get you beat as well. He got lucky. He got away with that decision as the Patriots weren't able to get in the end zone from the 1-yard line later on in the game on that final possession. You go to the Patriots second half dislikes. Julian Edelman fumbling the football. It was a huge turn of events. Like I said, big play by Cam Chancellor, scooped up by Richard Sherman into Patriots territory. That would later result in the Doug Baldwin go-ahead score. And so that's a huge fumble by Julian Edelman, a guy that normally holds on to the football. And then the end of the game drive was a very big disappointment. You get all the way down to the 1-yard line with Tom Brady, LeGarrette Blount, who had 3 touchdowns on the game. You expect them to be able to punch it in, whether it's a Blount run or a Brady sneak. You expect them to get into the end zone from the 1-yard line. They failed on both of those attempts. Then they had the fumbled snap, Brady trying to get in on a sneak, and he didn't get in, had to recover that. Then you get a penalty, too many men on the field by Seattle, which puts it back at the 1-yard line. That sets up an opportunity for you to potentially run it again, whereas where you went at the 2-yard line on 4th and goal from the 2, you're going to have to pass it to get in. It opened up a little bit more, and then you go to Gronk on that final play, and I thought it was a great no call. Both of those guys were being physical with one another. There was no penalty to be thrown there. If you're going to throw a flag, you would have to throw it on both of them and do the play over. No need in doing that. Let the guys play. I thought it was a great no call, and the Patriots don't get anything, and they lose this football game 31-24. You rarely see them get down that close and not be able to punch it in a situation like that. So, in essence, this was a really big win for the Seattle Seahawks to get this victory, go to 6-2-1 on the season, really keep a stranglehold on that NFC West division, and to go on the road and beat one of the best teams in the league that we perceive to be one of the best teams in the league. That's a huge win after beating Buffalo the week prior in a nail-biter. You go on the road all the way east, and you take on a New England Patriots team that was 7-1 prior to this game, and you take them out in their own building, really harass Brady, force him to throw his first interception of the season. You hit Gronk. You were physical. You went and you took this football game. You took it to the New England Patriots, and this was an impressive victory for a Seattle Seahawks team that we were starting to question when they went into New Orleans and lost. We were starting to question, is Russell Wilson healthy? Is this team going to be able to put it together? Is this going to be a rough season for the Seahawks? They may win the division, but will we respect them like we normally do come late in the season? I think this is one of those victories that solidifies their spot in the NFC pantheon. This is a really good football team, and they're going to be that way if they can remain healthy. So, from that standpoint, let's move on to where this game was won.
Well, wake her ass up! We're gonna win tomorrow!
I'll be over here, like, winning. Duh.
All right, so I look at this game, to me, where this game was won was the Seattle Seahawks' ability offensively to just move the football against this Patriots defense. Russell Wilson was magnificent in this game, easily, and probably should have been on my likes list. He threw the football with such touch down the field. His down the field accuracy was out of this world. It was out of bounds in this football game. I mean, he really put some touch on some throws. That one to CJ Prosise comes to mind. The corner is slightly trailing. The safety's coming over. He fits it right in between both of those defenders. A couple of those touchdown passes, the ball when the back shoulder fade, the final touchdown of the game, that had feathery, soft, drugstore cotton touch on it. It was so soft. He was outstanding in this game. Used his legs not to run, but to extend plays. The touchdown before the half is an extension play where he runs around, extends the play, then looks backside and sees Tyler Lockett getting free, or a Baldwin getting free. I forget who that was, but in any event, Russell Wilson was outstanding. But the offense, the ability of this offense, CJ Prosise to run it, CJ Prosise to catch it, Doug Baldwin to make some big tough catches, Lockett to get free. The ability of this offense, Russell Wilson leading these guys up and down the field against that Patriots defense, to me, is where this game was won. The ability for the Seahawks to be able to move the football with consistency versus the New England Patriots was where this game was won. Seahawks offense beating Patriots D was where this game was won. But if you want to take it a step further, you want to be a little bit more intricate in the details of this game, that final stop of this game at the 1, mano a mano, 4 straight plays, Patriots couldn't get in from the 1-yard line. That's where this game was won. So, in any event, let's move on to the final chapter of this breakdown where you guys get involved, I want to hear from you. Let's wrap this game up. Big win for the Seattle Seahawks.
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that shit up, B.
All right, so let's get to your comments. See what you guys have to say. Captain Spartan 04 says, all right, actually, let's go up some more. BE says, damn, I wanted the Patriots to win. Now the Cardinals are still 2 games behind in the NFC West, and the best I can do with my predictions is 9-5. So a double whammy for my man BE, as his cards don't gain any ground, and he can't get to double digits this weekend with his picks. Mind Draw says, good night, LT. Great weekend. I loved it. How are you doing, my man? I'm tired. I would love to go to bed, but got a little bit more show to go. And so I'm doing great, though. This was an excellent week of football, man. I'm excited for Monday Night Football. I haven't been this excited for Monday Night Football since the first week of the season. To cap off what was a great week of football, see what the Giants do at home versus Cincinnati Bengals. Should be a good football game. Netzel Toy 1 says, at the end, was that more of a offense or defensive PI? I don't think you could call it either way. Both of those guys initiated contact, I want to say at the same time. Gronk extended his arms, so did Cam Chancellor. Both of them were tussling. Gronk pushed him down to the ground. He didn't yank him down, or else they probably would have threw the flag. So I just thought it was both of those guys tussling and jockeying for positioning. You couldn't throw that flag either way, really. It was contact both ways. I don't think either guy gained an advantage because of the contact. Both of them were falling down towards the ground. I thought it was a good no call by the officials. Captain Spartan 04 says, Patriots should have ran the ball. I thought they would run it again on 4th down, but after being denied the first 2 times running and then Brady having a fumbled snap, I think they had enough of the run. Mind Draw says, I saw that Gronk started blocking as if it was a run play. LOL. It looked like a block. I mean, he literally came off and put 2 hands on Chancellor, but like I said, Chancellor put 2 hands on him as well. So, like I said, they went both ways. Captain Spartan 04 says, I was hoping for a DeAndre Elliott interception just for laughs. Okay. Alrighty. Moving right along. See what else we got. Mind Draw says, by the way, Brady looked like Bortles to me in his interception. Yeah, it didn't seem Brady-esque. I mean, he was panicked. He was running around in a circle. Then he finally reset his feet, long enough to just rip it down the field 45 yards. But the pass needed to be 50 yards down the field because he was well short of his target. It didn't look like an interception you would normally see Brady throw. But then again, pressure can do that to you. And pressure will make the best quarterback in the league look very pedestrian. And, yeah, that was not a Brady-esque type play on that interception. I will agree with you on that. BE says, with the Cardinals at 4-1, most of the NFC losing today, do they still have a chance at the playoffs, or what about winning the NFC West? Is there a shot there? Of course, there's always a shot. There's still plenty of football games to be played. You don't know what's going to happen. Everything's wide open. The NFC conference is wide open in terms of a wild card. That division is still up for grabs. You still have a meeting with Seattle, even though it's in Seattle, and that most likely will not result in a W. You never know what's going to happen, who's going to be healthy. You just don't know. It's so much football left to be played. Absolutely, there's a shot. Patrick Avellino says, the Pats did blunt just like the Hawks did beast mode in that Super Bowl. Yeah, I thought they could have run it, but it wasn't as obvious as that Super Bowl run with beast mode would have been or should have been. This was that was a Captain Obvious moment. Like, really? You're going to go away from the short thing? This wasn't short because they had gotten stopped twice already with Blunt from the 1. And so at least you can say, well, they had a reason not to run it. Whereas with Seattle, there was no precedent set of beast mode not getting in the end zone. They just didn't go to him when they should have. So, but it was similar. There were a little bit of similarities between the two. Andrew Kim says, wish I watched a lot of football this weekend. I was having a fun time at my friend's college, but watched my Ravens get a very needed win. Been sleeping Sunday, then had to work. Hey, look, man, there's nothing wrong with enjoying life. These football games happen every week for about a 5-month period. If you miss one week, they'll be back next week and they'll still be playing football. So Enjoy life, man. Do that. Don't sit in the house. Like, if I got a chance to go somewhere, I'm not going to be sitting in front of my television watching college football all weekend. If I got places to go, things to do, people to see. So enjoy life. Yeah, there's much more to life than just sitting in front of your television watching TV all day. So I'm with you, man. Got to go to work. Got to get you some rest. All that stuff is great. AK also says, did watch the last bit of the Pats-Hawks game. It was a good one. It was, indeed. Captain Spartan 04 says, wait, CJ Procise was the leading receiver and rusher? Yes, he was. Doug Baldwin obviously had the most touchdown grabs, but yes, Procise was the leading rusher and receiver in this game. The guy was dynamic in this football game. Mindraw says, not biased at all. I think Van Noy can do better than the other linebacker. You're talking about Elandon Roberts, number 52. We'll see. Kyle Van Noy, they traded for him. They're going to work with him. We'll see what they decide to do with him. Patrick Avellino says, what's up with Russell overthrowing open guys? My dad talked about that all night long tonight, is saying, oh, man, Russ is overthrowing guys all night. There were a couple times he was high. I mean, if you look at his numbers, you watch the game there, he missed a couple of guys high. There was one pass where he didn't reset his feet good enough, and he severely underthrew Lockett right before the half. But for the most part, I thought Russell Wilson was outstanding in this game. You look at his numbers, and he was tremendous. And there were some throws down the field where he just dropped it in a bucket. But yes, he did overthrow at least 3 receivers high. And I think that's just one of those situations where either you don't reset your feet well, there's a little bit of pressure, you rush the throw, or it just slipped out of your hand. And it happens with the best of them. You know, those things do happen sometimes. But I thought he was phenomenal tonight. Outside of the high throws, I thought he was phenomenal. Captain Spartan 04 says, I didn't see much of the game Walking Dead, but when I did, Frank Clark was dominant in the game. Was he like that all day? Nah. Frank Clark had his moments. He drew a holding penalty. But no, he was not dominant in this game. But he was part of a defensive front that did put pressure on Brady consistently throughout the night and make him uncomfortable. He did have that one sack, though, where he got around the edge. He really bull rushed the tackle, got his hand on Brady, one hand on Brady, and literally swung him down with one hand. That's probably the play you saw, and you thought, oh, damn, Frank Clark's dominating. That was his only sack of the night. But they got pressure collectively as a group, and they flustered Brady a little bit. I think they made him uncomfortable in this game. Captain Spartan 04 says, in your eyes, when did Tom Brady become an all-time great QB? Yes, I know it's a weird question, just wondering. Probably after the third Super Bowl is probably when you've realized this guy's phenomenal. I mean, you would see him take these receivers that you knew couldn't play on other teams and be successful, you know, as standalone targets. The David Givens of the world and the Deion Branches of the world. You would see these guys and you would say, wow, you know, Brady is making these guys look like, you know, Pro Bowlers. He would take a guy like Kevin Falk out of the backfield and make him look like Marshall Falk. I mean, these were the things that Brady was doing. These are the guys he had to work with, Troy Brown, and yet he was going to Super Bowls. I mean, you were saying to yourself, how is he doing this? And you realize we've got greatness on our hands. So I think it was probably the third Super Bowl. You know, the first 2 Super Bowls, you said, okay, the first one, defense, he's young, whatever. Second Super Bowl, you're like, oh, okay, that's nice, that's cute. The third one, you're like, wow, okay, this guy's really good. And that's when you start to realize, okay, he's got something. Kevin Skeel says, wow, I thought we would lose. I think a lot of people assumed this would be a W for the Patriots, but that's why you can't predict these games ahead of time. And that's why, to me, predicting schedules before the season starts is an exercise in futility that we love to participate in, and I'm guilty of it as well. But that being said, you just don't know how these games are going to turn out. This was a big, big win for the Seattle Seahawks. Captain Spartan 04 says, CJ Procise has better hands than any Eagles wide receiver. That may be the case. Remember, ex-receiver at Notre Dame, so he does have that background as well. All right, let's see. Captain Spartan 04 says, forgot to ask this on the Steelers-Cowboys recap. Thoughts on Ladarius Green? Thought he was okay. He looked rusty. Had a drop over the middle of the field that I thought he could have caught. Took a shot, dropped the football. But in any event, thought he was okay. But he'll get better as he plays more. All right. Anthony Carlos says, the Seahawks defense stepped up on the last drive. That they did. I thought that was a huge stop because How many of you out there thought that the Patriots actually weren't going to get in once they got first and goal at the 1 yard line? I mean, I thought, okay, we're going to overtime. Unless Belichick wants to be ballsy, roll the dice and go for 2 and go for the win, we're going to overtime again. Another Sunday night game in overtime, like our 4th one in 5 weeks. I thought it was an overtime game. I really did. And that Seahawks defense, like you said, stepped up on those last set of downs, and they showed why they're the best defense in the league every year, scoring defense-wise. They showed their mettle, and they showed why they're one of the best year in and year out. BE says, how are you doing with your predictions? I'm horrible. I'm already below the Mendoza line, and I can't get above it. So it's just a matter now of, am I dunce capping it this week or not? I told you it was going to be a bad week for me. I told you that last week. I said, look, I don't like this week. I don't like my picks. Remember I said, I'm about to turn it up. I said, well, this isn't the week to say that I'm going to turn it up because I don't like the picks, because I didn't like the games. So I already knew it was going to be a bad week for me. But it's crazy because a lot of these games could have went in a number of different directions. The Steelers could have won. The Saints could have won. The Chargers could have won. I mean, I could run off 4 games. The Jets could have won. And I didn't know Fitzpatrick wasn't going to play when I made that selection. That's the problem with having to make these picks on a Wednesday. You just don't know who is or isn't going to play that early. But no excuses. I didn't get it done, and I haven't been getting it done this season at all. Tristan Little says, what's the most impressive win today? Obviously, for me, there's 2 that stand out above the rest. Really 3. I hate to not include a lot of teams, but the Dolphins winning in San Diego was a huge win. That had playoff implications written all over it. The Chargers are done now after that loss. The Cowboys over the Steelers, that is a tremendous win. I know you say, well, Cowboys were 7-1, but this was a game that I think that a lot of people, Vegas even had them as underdogs, and a lot of people thought they were going to lose this game, including myself, and they found a way to win. And then obviously the biggest shocker for me, and maybe not for you guys, I can't speak for anybody else out there, the Titans dominating the Green Bay Packers. They're 5-5, and even though they're not in first place, they're right there in that division, and they're not going away. That was as impressive a victory as anybody had in week number 10. That was a huge win by the Tennessee Titans. Didn't see that one coming, I must say. Mind Draw says, I love how Russell Wilson and Tyler Lockett have that chemistry to extend plays since Minnesota. Since Minnesota. I don't know what you're referencing there at the end of that comment, but yes, Tyler Lockett and Russell. But I think Russell Wilson, by nature, because he's a guy that scrambles and moves around and extends plays, those receivers are trained and taught in practice. Hey, the play's never dead with Russell. Make sure you stay alive as a receiver. Make sure you're working to get open, because he will find a way to get you the football. If you can find a way to get yourself open, he will locate you. Just like before the half. That long touchdown right there at the end of the first half, huge play. That was all scramble drill. That was all Russell Wilson. That was all that receiver getting open. And again, I can't remember if that was Lockett or Baldwin, but either way, I believe it was Lockett. That's all those guys realizing that Russell Wilson is never out of a play, and that you have to keep yourself alive and find a way to get open, because he can get you the football. They do it the best, I think, of any team in the league in terms of scrambling and getting open. BE says, hey, we beat Seattle in Seattle last year. Anything can happen in any given day. Absolutely. That's what I said. When you said, are we still alive? You damn right you are. You still got to play Seattle once. And like you said, you don't know what's going to happen. This league is so unpredictable week in and week out. BE says, I find it funny all the TDs the Seahawks got was from one player, and the Patriots TD came from one player. It's amazing how that works sometimes. But, you know, teams don't even think about that stuff. They just like, look, man, we just want to get in the end zone. And so I want to believe Baldwin scored 3 touchdowns for the Seahawks and Blunt scored 3 touchdowns for the Patriots, if I'm right. I can't remember. I keep thinking about that touchdown for the half. I think it was Baldwin, but then again, I keep going back and forth as to whether that was Lockett or not. Tristan Little says, best team in the NFL right now, got to go to the Cowboys. Got to give it to the Cowboys. They just keep finding ways to win. They go on the road, and they haven't lost, just like the Oakland Raiders. They're undefeated on the road this season, which is huge, because that means they can go on the road, take their act on the road. And when you can run, and the way that they run and play just enough defense, you can take your act on the road and get it done. And that's what the Cowboys have done this season. And now they're winning at home. They used to struggle at home. Now they're winning at home as well. So Right now, the best team in the league is the Dallas Cowboys at 8-1, and literally, record-wise, they're the best team in the league, as well as the Patriots fall to 7-2 now. Vincent Coe says, what happened to Tom Brady and Coe slaughter the Seahawks and company slaughter the Hawks? I thought they were going to win this game. I didn't think they were going to slaughter them, but I thought they were going to win this game, and Brady and company didn't get it done. And I thought Brady was a little skittish. They put pressure on him. They ran the football effectively at times, but the defense isn't very good. And if you're not going to score enough points with the way the defense is playing right now, you can beat the Patriots if you can score points. And so the Seahawks scored points tonight, and even though they left a lot of points out there by having to settle for field goals, they scored points tonight, and it was enough to win this game. And you make mistakes. No team is immune to losing when you make mistakes. Patriots had 2 turnovers in this game. Seahawks had none. They win the game. You win the turnover battle 85% of the time in this league, and that's a stat I just made up. But you know, it's more than half of the teams that win the turnover battle are going to win. It's probably more like 70%. But I'm going to throw 85 out there because it's such a huge stat in this league. You win the turnover battle, generally you win in this league. Patriots turn it over twice in this game. They end up losing this ball game. So I think it was a team loss. It was a team effort to lose this game. Netzel Toy 1 says, what made the Seahawks O-line good tonight? They're getting better. You know, the Font kid they got out of, what is it, Western, I don't know where he's from, but he was an ex-basketball player, and he's playing well at left tackle. I thought he played well against Buffalo last week. Like, he's on the job training and playing well. And I'm like, wait a minute. He's not supposed to be playing good. They're starting to come together, man. They are really starting to come together along on that offensive line. And some of that is the Patriots. They're not great up front, but at the same time, give those guys credit. This is the second week in a row I thought the offensive line performed well enough to help the Seahawks win. They're starting to come together. They're starting to gel at the right time. Andrew Kim says, Ravens have a shot against the Cowboys. He's asking me that. I'm glad they beat the Steelers and hoping the Giants do the same to the Bengals, but I'm scared for this game. One thing, though, the Ravens have an excellent run defense. Ravens are number 1 in the league defensively, but so were the Green Bay Packers when the Cowboys met them, and then they shredded them. The biggest problem in that game, I don't think the Ravens stand a chance in this game, by the way, is that the Ravens don't score points. They're offensively challenged. They are deficient when it comes to scoring points. They're going to struggle to score against this Cowboys football team, and I think they're going to give up some yards on the ground. It'll be interesting to see if they can slow down. Now, they can't shut down Ezekiel Elliott. That offensive line is too good, but can they slow him down to the point where you can potentially put the Cowboys in long down and distance situations and maybe get off the field? I'm just not feeling the Ravens in that game because they can't score enough points. BE says, do you think the Cardinals can beat the Vikings next week? Really? We just talked about that. Anybody can beat anybody on any given week. The Vikings have lost 4 straight games. What do you think? They've started out 5-0. They're 5-4 now. What do you think? Obviously, the Cardinals have a great shot at winning that game. Tristan Little says, what do you think is coming out? Who do you think is coming out of the AFC West? I think all 3 of those teams are making the playoffs. All 3 of those teams above 500. Broncos, Chiefs, Raiders, all coming out of that division. I think the winner of the division, the same team that I predicted would win it before the season started, is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm sticking to my guns there. They already beat the Raiders in Oakland. They have a chance to sweep them. I think they can get that job done. No one's talking Kansas City Chiefs football, but yet they find ways to win. Today was ugly, but it was a win, and that's what the good teams in this league do. They find a way to win. Give me the Chiefs to win that division, Raiders to still make the playoffs, as well as the Denver Broncos. BE says, so there's a person I know, and he's saying the Cowboys are ass, and the Patriots and Seahawks aren't even good. How do you respond to him? Those are the type of people that you laugh at them, you agree, you nod your head, you laugh, and you say nothing because their opinion is so biased. They're haters at that point. When you talk crazy like that, they're a hater. And at that point, there's nothing you can say to convince that person that they're wrong. So you just laugh at them, like, you crazy, man, and you just keep it moving. Because nothing you say, you're wasting your breath if you try to explain to them that they don't know what the hell they're talking about. The Cowboys are 8-1, 8 straight wins, best team in the league, and they're ass. The Patriots are the best team in the AFC at 7-2, tied with the Raiders, and they're not good. The Seahawks are 6-2-1, and they're not good. What discussion are we actually having right now? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Tristan Little says, who are your Super Bowl picks at the beginning of the year, and have they changed? My Super Bowl picks are so far off, it's not even funny. I had Green Bay and Pittsburgh. Neither one of those teams are over 500 at this juncture of the season. Both of them are struggling. Both of them got some big losses in the last couple of weeks. Green Bay got their asses handed to them this week in Tennessee. Meanwhile, the Steelers lose at home to the Dallas Cowboys in dramatic fashion. Those two teams are struggling right now, and they very well may both make the playoffs. But right now, 10 weeks into the season, both of those teams look like anything but Super Bowl caliber football teams. East, I don't know if you were the only one to pick the Titans. I don't really look at the picks until Wednesday. Mondraw says, oh, sorry, I meant last year's playoff game when he found Lockett. Oh, okay, in the playoffs, I got you. Late in that ball game, I got you. Tristan Little says, are the Falcons for real? Yeah, they're for real, but they're going to struggle because the defense is young. And I've been talking about this since the preseason. This is a young defense. You're going to have your growing pains. Offensively, they really didn't get into a rhythm because, and I haven't watched the whole game, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but my sister's a Falcons fan, so they did watch the game downstairs in its entirety. And as I would go downstairs and go back and forth between the two games I was watching upstairs and the game they were watching downstairs, I would see that the Eagles were killing them on the ground. I think the Eagles had over 200 yards rushing in that ball game, and it allowed the Eagles to control the clock. Wentz had a really solid game. They didn't really pressure him because the run game was so effective. And so, in effect, they dominated time possession, dominated the ball, took the ball out of the Falcons' offense's hands, which is their strength, and it really limited the Falcons in this football game. So, the Falcons are for real, though. That defense is just something that you're going to have to deal with. BE says, is the offensive rookie of the year a wrap with Zeke or Dak? Yeah, it's a wrap. It's all about, does Zeke win MVP? Because if he does, then you go ahead and give the offensive rookie of the year to Dak. No need to give Zeke all the hardware. If Zeke doesn't win MVP, which is rare that a rookie running back does, but he's in that discussion. If he doesn't win the MVP, then you give that trophy to Zeke right now. Captain Spartan 4 says, this Seattle offensive line is coming together and the Seahawks won't pay them, so they'll leave, so they'll start from the ground. Oh, but say they're so young, though. All these guys are young, so they don't have to pay them anytime soon. The George Fant guy is a rookie at left tackle. Justin Britt is a second-year player, if I'm not mistaken. They just got Glowinski in the draft. I think he's a rookie out of West Virginia. These guys are all young. So even this entire and the other rookie at the other guard position, Jermaine Ifedi, young. They're young, so they don't have to pay these guys anytime soon. They're going to be just fine along that offensive line if they continue to gel and play the way that they've been playing. B says, I think the Vikings are versus Cards is a trap game. Vikings are back against the wall and they're desperate for a win. It is, but we've seen teams desperate. The Vikings were desperate this week and they didn't win. We'll see what happens. Vincent Coe says, ha, speak about turnovers. Remember Russell Wilson threw 4 picks but beat the Packers in a playoff game? Yeah, the Packers threw that game away, though. I mean, we could sit here. They had a chance. All they had to do was recover an onside kick. They couldn't do that. They made some bad plays late, and the Packers, they gave that game away, but it was a great comeback by the Seattle Seahawks. Captain Spartan 4 says, dream scenario. Imagine Russell Wilson with the Dallas offensive line. How much damage could be done? I don't know if it's any different than what you've seen out of Dak Prescott. I mean, Dak's just not evolved to Russell Wilson's level yet. But give him 2 years. Give him 3 years. He may be on Russell Wilson's level. He won't be the extend the play type of guy that Russell Wilson is. But with that offensive line, you don't have to be. You know what I mean? You can just sit in the pocket and create there. You don't need to run. The reason why Russell Wilson is so effective scrambling around is because he has to. That offensive line hasn't been protecting him for years. So, I don't even know how that goes. Tristan Little says, biggest threat to the Cowboys in the NFC. I still believe that team is the Atlanta Falcons. Even though the blueprint was set today with the Eagles, if you can play keep away by running the football, which the Cowboys do the best in the league, you can really put that Falcons offense to sleep. But The Eagles play a different brand of football at home for some reason, and the Eagles' defense is much better than the Cowboys' defense is. So I still think the biggest threat posed to the Cowboys is the Falcons in the conference, but don't sleep on the rest of the division. The Giants still pose a threat. The Eagles still pose a threat. Eagles should have beat the Cowboys 2 weeks ago on Sunday Night Football, blew that game. And the Redskins still pose a threat to the Dallas Cowboys as well. So family business is always going to be family business. It's always going to be competitive. But if you're talking about overall in the conference, I think that team is still the Atlanta Falcons. Captain Spartan 04 says, the next time you talk with MJ, tell him Ryan Shazier isn't overrated for me and chill out on Artie Burns. Artie Burns had a rough go of it in this game, but he's a young guy. MJ is always quick to make assertions and throw things out there, and I think that's why a lot of people love him, because he's got an opinion on everything, and there's no gray area with him. It's either black or white. Like, he wanted to fire his head coach like 4 games into the season. Fire Mike Mularkey. What are you saying now? You want to fire him now? You're 5-5 after 10 weeks of football? You just put up 47 on the Packers and Mariota threw for 4 touchdowns? You still want to fire Mike Mularkey? I'm listening. I'm waiting. I mean, that's why I don't get into all of that stuff, man. Anyway, BE says Steelers versus Cowboys, a game of the year. I think so. I mean, we still got football to be played, but thus far, I don't know if you can beat pound for pound. That was probably the best game we've seen all season long. And Vincent Cole says, great video again, man. My favorite YouTube channel, RNA. No doubt, man. I appreciate you checking me out and appreciate you guys hanging tough with me. I think we got some tweets here. Been hearing the phone go off as I'm doing this video, so going to check out and check Twitter quickly to see what's going on here on Twitter and see if we got any actual hits and mentions. All right, so we got nothing on that. Let's check my comments, and nothing there as well. So with that being said, I got one more from Tristan Littles, and we'll get out of here. I just need to know your top 5 receivers in the league. In no particular order, A.J. Green, Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr. still in there, even though he's a hothead, still a talented football player. That's 3. I'm trying to go through all the teams and divisions in my head. I think a lot of people sleep on T.Y. Hilton. He's up there. I don't know if I put him in the top 5 or not. I'm trying to go through the league as quickly as I can in my head. Let's just run through the divisions quickly. I don't want to leave out a premier receiver. Let's go with the NFC East first. I already named Beckham Jr. He's in the discussion. Dez Bryant could be in there. I'm going to keep Dez on the outside looking in because of the injuries this season. But when he's healthy, he's a menace. But Dez is right there. Let's put him off to the side for now. But he's definitely in the discussion. NFC South. Julio Jones. What am I? See, that's what I'm talking about. If you don't go through all the Julio Jones is definitely in the top 5. A.J. Green definitely in the top 5. Antonio Brown definitely in the top 5. And Odell Beckham Jr. definitely in the top 5. So that's 4. I got 1 spot left. Let's go through the rest of the South. New Orleans, no. Carolina, no. Tampa Bay, no. All right. So you go to the NFC North. Packers, no. Vikings, no. Lions, no. And who am I forgetting in that division? Packers, Vikings, Lions, Bears, no. So then you go NFC West. Cardinals, no. Seahawks, no. You got the 49ers, no. And you got the Rams, no. So then you go to the AFC side of things. Patriots, you go to the AFC East. Patriots, no. Jets, no. Dolphins, no. And Bills, no. Then you go to the AFC South. Already named Antonio Brown. A.J. Green, already named him. Ravens, no. And Browns, no. Then you go to the AFC North. That was the North. South. T.Y. Hilton, to me, is right there with Dez. I'm going to put him off to the side, but I think he's underrated. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does for that Colts football team. So Colts, no, or Hilton, maybe. DeAndre Hopkins, I'll put him off to the side with Dez and company, but he's having a down year because of the quarterback position out there. Then you go Titans, no, and you go Jags, no. So then you go to the AFC West. Demaryius Thomas is a guy you would like to put in there, but he drops the football for me too much, so no. Amari Cooper is a guy you would like to put out there, but he drops the football for me too much, so I go no. Then you go Chiefs, no, and you go Chargers, no. So out of that group of three that I put off to the side of D-Hop, Dez, and T.Y. Hilton, I would take Dez out of that group and put him in as my final top 5 receiver, with Hilton and DeAndre Hopkins on the outside looking in of that group. So you're talking about Odell Beckham Jr., you're talking about Dez Bryant, you're talking about A.J. Green, you're talking about Antonio Brown, and you're talking about Julio Jones as the top 5 receivers in the league for me right now. That being said, that's going to do it for me here on this breakdown. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. Seahawks get it done 31-24 on a last-second stop. First and goal from the 1. They turn the Patriots away 4 straight times to secure the victory. Get it done on the road in impressive fashion, 31-24. Go to 6-2-1 on the season. Keep control of the NFC West division. Meanwhile, Patriots fall for only the second time. And coincidentally, remember when they had that crazy win streak at Foxborough? They're now, both of their losses come at Foxborough this season. They're undefeated on the road, but both of their losses have come at home. Of course, one being without Brady, but that's their second loss this season at home for a Patriots team that generally doesn't lose much at home. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Sunday night football, overtime. Seahawks get it done. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. Again, thank you guys for joining me. You'll see me tomorrow breaking down all of the games on lockdown coverage. For all of you out there watching, for everyone supporting, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining me. God bless and good night. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Broncos won the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning retired. 49ers won 5 games and Tom Sula got fired. RG's in Cleveland and my Rams hit the West Coast. Be sleepless in Seattle cause that 12-man ain't beast mode. Oh yeah, I knew it was something I forgot to mention. Yeah, old Tom Brady about to get that suspension. Yeah, I know the Pats fans probably think that's whack. Yeah, but at the end of the day, your balls was flat. It's that time again. It's that time again to go hard in the offseason, cause we trying to win. We gon' go